and thank you so much for joining me for the Royal Quarter. Royal news in 15 minutes or less. Well, we are currently besieged in royal news at the moment, which is very exciting because a lot of the royals have got back to work and stories have just been pouring out about the working royals and the non-working royals, which I will cover both today in 15 minutes, hopefully. I just realised that I look like I've got a straitjacket on. I look a bit loopy-la-la, but there is a bit... There is a big wooden button actually there, which probably gives it context, but the microphone's hiding it. So don't worry, I haven't lost the plot just yet. Now, I want to kick off with a little mini quick tribute to Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, because she's approaching her 60th birthday on the 20th of January. She sure doesn't look it, I've got to say that. And there was a beautiful tribute to her in The Independent, and it was showing her fashions, during her working royal life. And I just picked out 3 because they're my favourite. So I thought you might enjoy them too. So let's have a look at the first one. So this was how they did the headline, The Duchess of Edinburgh's Style of Evolution as she turns 60. Here's how Sophie has transformed her wardrobe after 26 years in the royal family. So like I said, I only picked out 3, but there was a lot more in the actual article. So this was her engagement outfit. Isn't that superb? She nailed it. It was so sophisticated. It showed off her figure. It was simple. It was elegant. Just loved it. And I've got to say, I actually love Edward and Sophie's engagement interview, probably the best out of all of them. I love Catherine and William's, of course, but I just really love Edward and Sophie's because it was so natural and they just laughed their way through it and they clearly looked like just such good friends and best mates and obviously in love. I mean, the way Edward looked at her, it was obvious, and the way Sophie looked at him, it was obvious. And I thought it was sweet and lovely. So if you want to go and look that up, I recommend it. It's very heartwarming. Okay, next one we're going to look at is this stunning red dress. I'll bring it up so you can see. On the eve of the royal wedding, now who might they be talking about? Who had a wedding in 2011? Sophie arrived at the Mandarin Orient Hotel in a dramatic red gown by Bruce Oldfield, and she did look stunning, just absolutely stunning. And, I think she looks quite sexy there, rather Hollywood, but she nailed it again. And the final one I picked out was on a visit to Picton Barracks just last year. And they describe it as khaki and pink. And I just think it's stunning and so clever. What a great tribute to the troops, but still looking very feminine and elegant. I think Sophie would be the sort of person that would actually take off a bit of jewellery before she left home. She's very classic, isn't she? Very subtle. And I just love her. I love her. She cannot put a foot wrong for me. Now we'll get on to some juice, and we're obviously on to a non-working royal if we're on to juice. These were the headlines when I woke up today, and it's here. There we go, Daily Mail. Meghan Markle spotted at LA fire relief effort despite backlash. Well, good on you, Meghan, but I did have to laugh at Town and Country's take on the very same thing. Meghan Markle quietly volunteers. Let's just go back to the previous slide. Most of the world's media covered this quiet visit very quickly. It was almost like they had it available to them in real time. So anyway, we'll go on to Town and Country's very optimistic. I'm sure they're not being ironic, to support Altadena teen girls following devastating wildfires in California. The Duchess of Sussex made a low-key volunteer visit with donations earlier this week. Let's have a look at the photograph in more detail. Now, everybody noticed that there was actually a lot of brand merch in those bags. So I'm thinking, did she just collect all the freebies from the Archwell offices, stick them in bags and decide to distribute them? Because there was an awful lot of brand merch. Evidently, there was a lot of My Place brand merch, which is kitchenware, Interesting, isn't it? And the other thing, the other observation I will make is the fact that isn't it extraordinary that every time Meghan Markle visits someone under the radar, very quietly, the cameraman always manages to catch her face front on and whoever she's talking to, the back of their head. It's always perfectly positioned, isn't it? Now, that may not be her fault because, of course, I guess the charity wanted to catch the fact that Meghan Markle had visited, maybe, unless they were worried about being markled. I don't know. That's the thing. You see, I know Paris Hilton is going around doing a lot, and she is getting photographs taken of her. And it's interesting, though, because it just feels different. It feels like she is actually pushing the charity rather than herself. There's a different dynamic to it. And I actually heard before I came on that she's raised over $880,000 just in her efforts, in the last few days, which is extraordinary. And the great thing is it's all going directly to the charity. So I'm a bit of a fan of Paris Hilton. I used to think she was sort of a shallow person that I shouldn't pay attention to. I have revised my thoughts because I think she's doing a stellar job. And like I said, she had a photo op today or yesterday in Baby to Baby, which is actually the charity that Catherine, Princess of Wales, supports in the UK. And, it didn't feel exploitive. It didn't feel like a photo op. It didn't feel like she was trying to get attention for herself. It very much felt focused on Baby to Baby, whereas this didn't. And I'm wondering whether maybe Meghan could turn that around with her Instagram account if she hasn't deleted it due to her disgust at Zuckerberg. Maybe she could focus on this charity, write about this charity, put photos of the people, like maybe turn the girl around. Turn the girl around, Meghan, so that everyone can see about the charity rather than about you with your ubiquitous baseball cap on. Okay, next one. The couple donated to the cause, which was launched by 14-year-old Avery Culvert, good on you, Avery, to support teenage girls in her community to regain their sense of self and confidence after the fires. One note I will make, and I don't know whether I'm being too cynical, but I've noticed that Archwell Foundation very much focuses their attentions on rather young and vulnerable people that are forming their opinions of the world. I notice that they have a real interest in that. Also, I've noticed that Meghan tends to focus and really put her time into girl sort of charities. There doesn't seem to be a lot of attention on the poor boys that might have suffered. I'm sure that charity donates to boys as well, I hope, because it seems to be very focused on teenage girls. But of course, all the teenage boys in LA suffered just as much. And I have noticed that Archwell Foundation does target their help and their funds and their attention in particular to sort of young girl sort of charities and youth causes. And a lot of people take that as a form of manipulation, that focus. I don't know whether I would go that far or would I? I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave that one up to you. That's too much of a hot potato for Royal Quarter. Okay, the source told the outlet about their reaction to Justine Bateman's bollocking about them being exploitive sort of disaster tourists, or as I entitled them, at least 36 hours before Megyn Kelly called them vultures, I called them griefsters, as did a lot of other YouTubers. The source told the outlet it's offensive to Meghan and Harry that anyone would think this is merely a photo opportunity. Okay, guys, okay, calm down, calm down. Meghan was born and raised in LA, so this is and always will be home to her. That was a slap in the face to everyone in the UK. They added that Markle is not just a tourist and that her heart is completely broken for all the lives that have been lost and for those whose homes have been destroyed in these fires. And I don't think I'll really have a go at her about that last bit of the statement. I'm sure her heart is broken. I'm sure the whole world's heart is broken. I mean, we can't drag the innocent victims of these horrific fires into the bit of fun that we're having in this rather gossipy Royal Quarter. Okay, now we're going to get on to William. Now, I have to say, look, just a disclaimer, I do get into trouble for calling him William because people think it is sexist and they think it's out of line, they think it's old-fashioned, and they really do take great objection to it. I don't care. To me, he's William, always will be William, because I think he's rather yummy. And I don't think he'd mind me saying that, actually. I think he likes a little bit of appreciation. So there. Okay, let's have a look at him in Birmingham. Prince William buys around for his fellow Villa fans. The Prince of Wales was in Birmingham to address the College of Paramedics, which is stellar, and I'm going to mention the serious side of this in a minute, of which he has been made patron. Now, it's quite a wonderful, wonderful thing. He actually contacted the football club and said, I would like to meet, 8 or 9 real fans, real season ticket holders that are about to go off to the match because I'm going to be there and I'd love to sort of join in the excitement and talk to my fellow Villa, supporters. And so he did. He met them at Birmingham Station, and he bought them a beer or whatever beverage of their choice, and he had a good chat to them and he let them take selfies and everything. I've actually seen the video of it and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and you could tell that they were beyond thrilled, and who would blame them? So I'll bring this up so I can read it. With its 99p pints and a menu that features an all-day brunch, a Wetherspoons is not a place you might expect to find a future king. However, it was a spot chosen by the Prince of Wales when he dropped into one of the chain's pubs in Birmingham on Wednesday to buy a round for his fellow Aston Villa supporters. William met 8 season ticket holders near Birmingham New Street for about half an hour before they travelled to an away match at Everton and bought a round, including a pint of cider for himself. Now, I am going to get on to the serious side of his visit. In a short speech, William said paramedics were the Swiss Army knife of frontline healthcare and that he was all too familiar with the pressures of the job from his own experience as a search and rescue pilot with the RAF and later flying helicopters for the East Anglian Air Ambulance. So that just fills me with joy and admiration. I think he will really, really make a difference, bringing attention to that. And all good, all good. I'm sure paramedics probably the world over are just quite excited about that because they're proud of their profession and it helps to have a future king drawing attention to what you do. Now, this was another little bit of quick gossip. Princess Lilibet in line for £7,000 heirloom that was beloved by Princess Diana. Now, this was obviously planted by sources to the Mirror, and it was the piece in question is the two-tone Cartier French Tank Watch, and Meghan admitted that she had long coveted and eventually splurged on the iconic piece after a huge professional moment in her acting career. It was for the announcement of Suits 3 season. She actually ordered it for herself and she had it engraved on the back from MM to MM. Some might say that's quite a narcissistic sort of engraving, but it wasn't. It was a present to herself for all she's achieved. Now, do we begrudge her that, people? Do we begrudge that? Now, there was all sorts of confusion because in a recent fashion breakdown of what Meghan was wearing, it was alleged that she was wearing Diana's Cartier Tank Watch. Well, she has 2. She has Diana's and she has the one that she actually purchased for herself. I didn't know that. But according to Mirror, Meghan's other tank watch, which she's often been seen proudly wearing since Harry gifted it to her, you can just tell that this was very quickly dispatched to the Mirror, belonged to none other than one of the biggest fashion icons of the last century, the late Princess Diana. Of course it was. And here is Diana in her beautiful Cartier Tank Watch. Oh, gee, she was lovely, wasn't she? She was lovely, very beautiful, very elegant, actually very reminiscent of Sophie with her elegance, I think. Now, Harry's mother and Lilibet's grandmother stipulated before her untimely death. Now, get this, guys. I want you to take note of this. They've actually told the Mirror what was stipulated in Diana's will. Who did that? Who do you think dropped that bit of juicy fodder? I couldn't imagine who. Harry's mother and Lilibet's grandmother stipulated before her untimely death that she wanted her sons to share out her incredible jewellery collection when the time came. I would like you to allocate all my jewellery to the share to be held by my sons so that their wives may in due course have it or use it, Diana wrote in a letter. And that's a direct quote from Diana. So I don't know about that one. I don't know whether that's private information or whether that was actually contained in one of Paul Burrell's many books. I don't know. It seems a little intrusive to me. But anyway, Megsy baby, Rachel got it out there that she owns 2 Cartier French Tank Watches. So good on her. Oh, there's more. When visiting Nigeria last year, Meghan was spotted in a delicate cross pendant, which was reported to be part of Diana's private collection. Well, it's not so private now, is it, honey? Okay, now we've got some King news, which is good to see. He's back at work. King Charles teams up with family members at star-studded celebration in Scotland. The monarch was marking the 35th anniversary of the King's Foundation. 35 years. He turned up there with David Armstrong-Jones, who, of course, is the son of Princess Margaret and Tony Armstrong-Jones. And there he is pictured with Rod Stewart. It seems a rather informal affair because, look, they've all got very thick, heavy, warm jumpers on. Sir Rod and Penny Lancaster, or should we say Penny Stewart, greeting the King. Whenever I see Penny Lancaster with the King, she's always really laughing at something he said. She's always really enjoying it. And Rod Stewart always looks a little bit like, hey, stop flirting with my missus, fella. But they do look lovely, but they do look cold. Maybe they keep Dumfries House. I think it was at Dumfries House. Maybe they keep it very, very cool. I don't know. The King joked about secateurs with Sir Rod Stewart as he placed a pair of his own in a time capsule to mark the launch of the 35th anniversary of his charity. Well, good on him. I mean, so much has been achieved. I should really do a video on everything that has achieved, his foundation has achieved. I think the video would probably go for about 6 hours because so much has been achieved. But it would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Okay, now I've got something funny. I've got to finish off with a laugh, and I think you'll get a giggle out of this. I mean, we all know the Mirror comes up with the trashiest articles. That's probably why Meghan Markle and Harry feature so much in the Mirror lately. Anyway, this is funny. Psychic who predicted COVID gives shock forecast for Prince Harry and William in 2025. Now, this is the fella, and he's a self-proclaimed psychic, and he started when he was 17. And this is his prediction. Prince William and Harry will reconcile and meet face to face, and there will be images of this in the press. Wow, what a prediction. If they actually reconcile face to face, there would be images of it in the press. This guy's good. I gotta say, this guy is really, really good. Meanwhile, he also predicted good things for the Duchess of Sussex, adding Meghan will have a successful year doing a TV show or podcast and will focus on family ties. Do you get the sneaky suspicion that self-proclaimed psychic actually got all that information out of the newspaper? Probably out of the very same newspaper that he's now being featured in? I had to leave you with that very amusing note. And you won't see me tomorrow for the Royal Quarter because I'm away for the whole day, but I do have the weekly book chat up tomorrow night, so don't miss that. It's the second chapter of the very juicy Diana versus Charles by James Whitaker. If you enjoy the Royal Quarter, could you like and subscribe? I would really appreciate it because this is a new venture for me and it would help spread it out through YouTube land and help grow our community, all of us that love the royals and hearing all the goss. I'll see you again Monday. If a big story breaks tomorrow, I'll just have to catch up on Monday. I'll see you then. Thanks a lot. Bye.